Hi, and welcome back to the Biomechanics of the Musculoskeletal System. I'm Dan Bassett, and in this unit we're going to be shifting gears a little bit, as we've been talking a lot about very theoretical concepts in kinematics and kinetics, very important, but now we're going to start applying some of those, especially kinematics for this unit, as we talk about marker sets. Now, so far, we've just kind of taken it for granted, where we have a whole series of markers on a subject that we are then going to use to define our biomechanical model. So in our software, it ends up looking something like this. Might be kind of going backwards, but you get the idea. Where, as you've learned in the Visual 3D Basics series, and then we talk extensively about in the Visual 3D Expert Builder series, we define each of these segments as truncated codes. So this should be fairly common knowledge to you by now. For the most part, we end up working with a cluster type of marker set, or cast, as these are based on Aurelio Capozzo's work and have been extremely influential in the field of biomechanics. My personal preference is to use a cluster type of marker set, largely because its impact on reducing skin movement artifact is huge. Now, this doesn't mean that, for example, Leardini's marker set is not valid. In fact, I'm a huge fan of his marker set as well, from the IOR, Istituto Ortopedico Rizzoli, which it has great clinical applications. My preference ends up being a cluster marker set, but you might have reasons to use a different one. And a huge number of labs to this day still use what's referred to as a conventional gait model, where there are several variations, but it'll be something like this. Clearly, many fewer markers. One of the reasons to use the conventional gait model, frankly, is a reduced number of markers. This has a huge impact on your data, and that's what our focus is on in this unit. We want to compare. We're going to use the data we collected right here in our studio with Jason, and we're going to compare the cluster type of approach to a conventional gait model approach, where we're going to use the same markers. It's going to be the same exact trial, so recorded, everything the same, and frankly not optimal. You'll see that the data recorded here was not great. Largely, I was even standing partially in the way of one of the cameras to be able to do all the recordings. We had our lights around. Really not a great environment, but introducing all of these variables that impact our data has now also given us the opportunity to work with it a little bit more and see how it impacts our data and how well our marker sets stand up to these potential problems. So in the next chapters of this unit, we're going to focus on building a cluster marker set. Actually, we already have the model. We're just going to review it real quick, so you're very familiar with it. And then we're going to work on a conventional gait model in a very traditional sense. And then we're going to give you some tips on how you can get better use of a conventional gait model compared to the traditional method. So continue on in that, and we'll try to show you advantages and disadvantages of each marker set and how it actually impacts your data.